Bob's, one of my favorite companies, is Semantic. Right? So this is a company that actually came out of Slovenia, and some research that the European Union funded, as well as the incredible cleverness of the founders. But the idea here is that the average semi-professional, I don't know about the average, let's call him semi-professional blogger, spends about 20 minutes adding what we'll call decorative content. Right, so if I'm blogging about airplanes and I want to talk about the Airbus A330 or the one which went down a few weeks ago, or I want to talk about 747, I probably want to put in some links to the Airbus website, the Boeing website, maybe some pictures, and maybe a news feed around this kind of stuff. That's so that people will read my blog. Right? So I got to spend time doing that. And that, Semantic, they claim, and this seems reasonable, right? They claim that takes about 20 minutes per entry. And so anything that you can do to speed that up actually has real value. And so that's what they've done. They've created a company which is basically about speeding that up. And so what they do is they have the article, which is taken as input, and then they suggest tags, they suggest pictures, and they suggest news feeds, and they suggest a fair amount of different metadata. And then when the users add those suggestions back in, of course, because they want to do it, because it's generally pretty good, and it's a lot easier to add semantic suggestions than to go do your own research, and their stuff is high quality. Then, of course, they can put in things like RDFA and semantic markup in the background. And that's really, really incredible. Okay, so that's 3 generations of semantic web use cases. So one was semantically boosted search, 2 was our business enterprise information semantics, and 3 was semantics in the social semantic web. So I want to talk about the 4th generation, and this is what I think is absolutely coolest. So let's look at some numbers around the web and data. Let's look at some numbers around the internet first, right? So the internet is exploding again. I don't know if it ever stopped exploding, but it's going again. There's tons of mobile devices out there. Embedded systems are orders of magnitude more numerous than things like this computer, which is sitting here in front of me. They're all running some variant of the TCP stack. Sensors are out there. And most of these kinds of applications, it turns out, involve data transfers that are naturally modeled semantically. And so, folks like Gardner, I'm not sure where they get these numbers, but I'll go with them. And again, this was 07, so I don't know, probably done an update since then. They say things like, well, okay, by 2012, 70%, that's not too far away, it's 2.5 years, 70% of public web pages will have some level of semantic markup. And 20% will use more extensive semantic web ontologies. Well, that may be true and that may not be true. Let's assume they're not off by an order of magnitude, but let's just do some multiplication right here. So 20% of what we anticipate the web's going to be like in 2012, around 30 billion pages. And let's assume that more extensive semantic web-based ontology somehow means some number, let's call it a kilotriple a page. That's 6 trillion triples. Right? Syndice right now, which is I think the leading semantic web search engine, they're incredibly cool, is now indexing well over 10 billion triples and 100 million pages. So you can start to draw those curves out. And I think that they're underestimates. But think about 6 trillion triples. What can you do with that? And I'm going to go reach all the way back to the slide which I started with, right, which is the Google property. Does the semantic web get better as it gets bigger? Essentially, does it have the Google property? We don't know. This is actually a hypothesis right now. We don't really know. But one of the things we do know is that in order to figure this out, we have to figure out if we could actually exploit billions of triples, tens of billions of triples, microformats, ontologies, rules, all knit together with these partial agreements. And so there's a real question, is there a scaling limit on these systems? So, I'm going to have a couple of slides on what I think is now the future of the semantic web. The future begins with this thing called DBpedia, which again Dave introduced, in which I got some more numbers up there. So DBpedia is basically a system to mine Wikipedia for assertions. It's open source software. You can go grab all the extractors yourself. And the current data set, which is right now 3.2, which was pulled from the October 08 Wikipedia dump, it's about 23 million triples out of the fact boxes. Right? So fact boxes in Wikipedia, there are these sort of quasi-data style boxes, which populate a whole ton of articles out there. Turns out you can just sort of mine things out of there and do a little bit of harmonization. In the DB2 data set, right, which is all about objects and things which are in Wikipedia, they end up with 2.6 million things which have data about. And as it happens, once you actually do all the final mining out, almost 275 million things, right? So they got information on what, over 200,000 people, right? 300 and some odd thousand places.